I'm going to show you how to make a finger knit blanket. First thing that you're going to want to do is to make a loop in your super bulky yarn, jumbo size 7 yarn. I'm using Bernat blanket yarn, that extra thick kind, looks like this. And what you're going to want to do is you can either use a slip knot, or I actually like to just make a knot here. That's actually not common practice, but I just think it makes it more secure. Once you've got your initial loop here, all you're going to do is you're going to reach inside and pull another loop through. And that's really all there is to it. You're going to pull another loop through, just like so, and you're going to continue across, pulling loops. You want to try to keep them approximately the same size as you go across until you have the size that you want the blanket to be. You're creating the width right now. So once you have this as wide as you want your blanket to be, then what you're going to do is you're going to bring your loop up like this, and then you're going to insert your yarn in the top of the stitch like this. And you're just going to keep going across until you make it all the way across the blanket. And you'll want to try to make your loops uniform so that they're around the same size each time. The larger you make your loops, the more holy, I guess, the more holes your blanket is going to have. And the smaller your loops are, the tighter that your blanket is going to be. And it also is going to use more yarn, whereas if the loops are larger, you're going to use less yarn. Once you get to the end of your blanket, what you're going to do is you're going to insert another, so you just completed that loop, you're going to insert another loop here, and now you're just going to go back the exact same way, and you're just going to continue pulling up loops until you get all the way to the end. And you're just going to continue this method all the way until you get the blanket as large as you want. Once I get my blanket started, I do like to have it so that the loops are facing me. I generally just kind of sit it on my lap and then roll the blanket underneath. And then I just continue to work across in this manner here until I reach the desired length of the blanket. Once you've reached your desired length and you're ready to finish the blanket off, you're going to make your last row with the loops about twice as long as you're doing throughout the rest of the blanket. So on this row here, make sure that your loops are extra long and work your way across the blanket all the way across with extra large loops. Until you get to the end. Once you reach the edge of the blanket with your extra large loops, now what you're going to do is come back to the end, grab the first loop, and you're just going to pull it over the next loop like so. And then you're going to continue doing that all the way across. You're just going to pull one loop through the next. And you're going to continue until you reach the other side of your blanket. Once you reach the end of the blanket and you've pulled up your last loop, you can go ahead and snip your yarn, and then you can just put that yarn through the final loop, and then you're just going to pull it kind of tight here. And then once you've done that, I just kind of wind the yarn through this just a little bit, And then all you need to do is just take a needle and thread, and then I just kind of sew this in here just to keep that end secure so that it doesn't go anywhere. And then I do that with my starting end as well, just so that the end stays hidden. And that's how you have it.